More than 8 million tourists visit Prague every year, and if you're watching this video, you're likely one of those people who is looking to visit the stunning Czech capital, which is regarded as being one of the most beautiful cities in Europe. But Prague is not a fairy tale, it's a real city with some scams and tourist traps. So this is everything you need to know to not fuck up in Prague. Let's start off with the basics. Prague is the capital of Czechia, aka the Czech Republic, and although it's often associated with the Eastern Bloc or Eastern Europe, Czechia is not part of Eastern Europe, but it's part of Central Europe. Czechia is bordered by Germany, Poland, Austria, and Slovakia, Prague being its largest city with a population of 1.4 million and 2.3 million in the metropolitan area. The language here is Czech, a West Slavic language, and although many young people do speak English, I do recommend to learn a few key phrases before coming. And although Czechia is a member of the European Union, they don't use the euro but the Czech crown. Most places here do take card, but I do recommend having some cash on hand just in case. Let's look at the layout of Prague. Prague is split in two parts by the Vltava River. On the western side, you find the Old Town and the New Town. This is the first place many tourists end up, because this is where you'll find many of the main attractions and important buildings, like the Old Town Square, the Astronomical Clock, the Wenceslas Square, and a lot of different museums like the National Museum. It's also home to a lot of shopping streets, as well as clubs and bars. This area is beautiful, but as you can imagine, Prague being a major European city, it does get very crowded here and it can feel very touristy. I still recommend visiting this area because there is so much to see. You could spend a few days only going to all of the museums and attractions in this part of town, but I recommend to take it slow, just wander around, go into side streets and alleyways to take in all the beautiful architecture that you'll find here. And to avoid most tourists, I recommend the north of the Old Town or the south of the New Town. One museum that I really loved here was the National Museum of Decorative Arts next to the Jewish cemetery. This museum is often overlooked, but it's definitely worth a visit. Prague isn't the largest city in the world, so you should definitely discover other parts of the city too. You should cross the river to the east bank, where you will find the lesser town or Malá Strana. And if you love suffocating crowds, I recommend the gorgeous Charles Bridge. But if you want to cross in peace without a lot of tourists around, there are plenty of other bridges to choose from too. Apart from Little Venice and the area around the Charles Bridge, the lesser town feels a little less crowded and touristy. It's home to many official government buildings and embassies. Generally, it feels a little bit more upscale and less overwhelming. In fact, it was one of my favorite areas of the city. On the side of the river, you also find the Prague Castle, the largest coherent castle complex in the world. But the Prague Castle isn't just one castle. It actually consists of various important sites like the Old Royal Palace, St. Vitus Cathedral, and the Golden Lane, amongst others. You could easily spend an entire day here visiting all of the different sites. But if there's one place in this area that you should visit, it's definitely the St. Vitus Cathedral, which in my opinion is a must visit. Prague Castle also has one of the best views overlooking the city. But because of that, it's always very busy. If you want the best view of Prague without the crowds, I recommend to climb the St. Nicholas Church Tower in the lesser town, or go up the Petrin Hill in the summer. Reaching the Prague Castle can also be quite a challenge. It sits on a hilltop that overlooks the city, so I don't recommend walking all the stairs up to the top. It's way easier to just take tram 22 or 23 to the Prague Castle's top. In general, Prague has an extremely great and affordable public transport system, consisting of trams, metros, and buses. You can easily purchase tickets and plan your journey through the official PID app, making public transport the best option to get around. I don't really recommend taxis because they are known for scams, but if there's no other option, only use taxis from Uber or Bolt to be sure that you're not getting scammed. But I barely ended up needing any public transport in Prague because it is extremely walkable and pedestrian friendly. An area I did use the public transport for was Prague 7, which is an amazing area with the least amount of tourists and most local vibes I found in the city, and it's only a short walk or tram ride away from the center. In general, Prague is very safe. I didn't once feel unsafe or uncomfortable, but I do recommend keeping an eye out for your belongings in the city center because obviously there are pickpockets active here. And if there are strangers on the streets that approach you to ask to buy something, to sign a petition, or to exchange money, just refuse and walk away. There are also some key tourist traps that you should know about in the city center. One of them are the Tredilnik shops, which you'll find everywhere. They sell a type of overpriced pastry which they claim to be traditional, but it's actually Hungarian and has nothing to do with Prague, so please go to a normal bakery or cafe if you want to try actual Czech sweets. In Prague you also find a lot of shops that sell something that I'm very familiar with being from Amsterdam. The thing is that unlike Amsterdam's coffee shops, these stores are not reliable and most of them only sell artificial chemical hallucinatives that are not suitable for human consumption, which can actually be very dangerous, so don't tempt your faith. Just get a beer instead. A good thing to keep in mind when drinking in Prague is that you should never pay more than 50 to 75 crowns or 2 to 3 euros for a beer, otherwise you're definitely paying way too much. Another way to spend too much money in Prague is by going to all the little supermarkets that you find everywhere. Many tourists think that these are the actual supermarkets, but the normal Czech supermarket chains are often hidden underground in shopping malls or train stations. But their prices are so much cheaper, so just look out for chains like Billa, Lidl or Tesco instead of going to the small independent supermarkets. And when it comes to ATMs, you can also save a lot of money by not accepting the automatic conversion because they charge extra for it. And you don't need to tip too much. It's normal in Prague to tip about 10%, but it should never be required or obligatory to pay a tip. Last but not least, Czech people might seem a little bit cold and distant at first. Please don't take it personally, it's just a culture. They aren't chatty, smiley or fake nice, but that doesn't mean that they don't like you or don't want to help you. Please give a like and subscribe to my channel because I make a lot of travel content throughout Europe. Let me know if you've ever been to Prague and comment which city guide you want to see next on my channel.